Hi guys. Okay. In a recent video I was talking about modifications to my U.S. Army. This one is an Ontario U.S. Army issue machete. And it was very well liked, very well received, and several of you said, go show me a little bit more. How do you actually sharpen it and get it that way? So we're going to take a file, and this is the file I carry on the sheath, and we're going to go through the steps of how I create all those modifications on a standard machete. Okay. Now the first thing is you got to realize that you don't want to be doing this on thin pants or anything like that. You want a solid protection on your legs. So I'm going to be laying this on my legs. And if that thing slid, that would be bad. So put some sort of barrier between you and the leg. A book, some cardboard, something that gives you. Don't be sitting there on your bare legs, because if this hangs and slides, it's going to bite you. Okay. But even more safety is go out and lock this into a vise or something. Not everybody has a vise, but you can lock it into a vise and do it the same way. And since a machete is flexible, we have to work around that and be able to do this without causing it to flex. We got to keep it square. Okay. Okay, these pants are double thickness knees, and then I've got another layer underneath. So I'm going to be doing it on these. Now first, you're going to take the machete up here, and let's review the zones of it. We've put a 90-degree right here underneath the handle for a flint striker. The back of the kukri, of the machete, from here to here, we've made sure we had a 90-degree spine as a way to plane and shave. We have rounded it from here to the tip on the top so that we can have a handhold there for pulling and planing and stuff. The edge from here to here, about 4 inches, is extremely sharp, and that's set up to be a knife edge. You can see it's shinier than the rest of it. And then from here all the way around is a more robust edge, and the tip is almost dull, because this is my grubbing edge, about that much. That's where I'm going to be hitting things on the ground, you know, roots, stuff like that. So this up here is always dinged up anyway, right? So I don't worry about sharpening that so much, as long as it's got a little bit of an edge to cut a root or something like that. So let's start with the 90-degree right up underneath the handle for the fire striker. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it up here, and I'm going to hold my hand. I'm going to take a small 6-inch or 7-inch, whatever that is, mill bastard file. I'm going to put it in my hand. Notice I put a little bit of tape on that end so it don't dig into me. I'm going to push it with these fingers into the palm of my hand. I'm going to put my fingertip up there to push down. And I'm going to bear down and push away from me. Just like that. Short strokes, keeping it flat. What I'm doing there is I am creating a 90-degree flat across that top. That's pushing a bird to the far side, because that's the side I want to drag from. Just like that. Now, for the back of the blade, turning it over very carefully, this will be where you want to put a piece of cardboard or whatever down here. From the back of the knife to about here, same idea. I'm going, instead of 90-degree, I'm going to angle it slightly. And I'm going to do this. Now, don't get in a hurry. Don't do this. Don't rock up and down, because then you're rounding it. You want it flat up there, so it's flat in contact. Like that. Now, if you can lock this into a vise, then you can take both hands on either side and do like this and go across. Okay? And you'll do that the full length from about here to here, and that will create the wire edge on the sides. That's what you want, the 90-degree, for shaving and stuff like that. Now this upper third right here, this is going to be a handhold. This is what I'm going to grab it and pull. So to do this, I'm going to take my file, but I'm going to not flat or flat. I'm going to like 45 it like that, see, at an angle. So I'm kind of like pushing this edge downhill. I'm going to start right there. I'm going to do this. You hit, push, pick up, come back like a 1/2 inch, hit, push, pick up, come back like a 1/2 inch. That way you're overlapping. Okay, so it's the same all the way. I'm going to take it all the way to the tip. Just like that. Long stroke. Feel of it. It should feel round. Shouldn't feel sharp. You hit a sharp spot. See, I'm rolling over. And make sure I ain't got no sharp edge there. It's going to cause a blister or even cut me whenever I grab a hold of it by hand to pull. I don't want that to be any kind of sharp edge. Same thing on the other side. I'm going to turn the file around backwards now, and I'm going to file downhill because the file only cuts one way. Like that. That's nice and round now already. If you hit a spot like there's a little burr sticking up, just kind of go in a circle. Make sure that's rounded. Now, this front third to about right here, I'm just going to simply lay. And notice how I'm supporting it with my knee. This will flex. So if you try to go full length, it's just hanging out there and there it bends to go away from you. So you want the tip anchored, you want your hand anchored. I like to put it down on both my knees, grip it, and then come from right there, and I'm going to lay it all the way down plain on the bevel, lift it up just a grunt. Remember that push, overlap, push, overlap. This is what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to get up here about that curve and I'm going to stop, because this is my grubbing edge, remember? So from here up, what I'm going to do. Now when I come from the other side, I can flip it around. I'm going to do it that way. And I can do this. Now this one's good and sharp already, because you can hear how quiet it is. When you hit something that's not sharp, hear the sound go up. I'll get up here on the grubbing edge. Versus, you can hear the sound change. When it's smooth and thin and even, it's almost like a swoosh. But when it's rough and it's jagged, there's a different tone to it. Now I want this right here at the edge to be a little sharper, definitely than this, because that's where going to be a lot of impact. And I try to cut limbs right there. So I don't want it too thin. At the same time, I don't want it too thick. You know what I mean? Turn the file around, pull the other way. Run your finger sideways, pull to you. Never slide. And see if you can find a wire edge. Like right there's a little bit of a wire edge. Okay, now down here in the knife sharp area, this is going to be sharpened like this initially, and then I'm going to take this to a higher level. Once I get this as sharp as that is, I'm going to lessen the pressure, okay? I'm just going to let it kind of float over it. Now I'm going to take me a magic marker and I'm going to put me a mark on here when I'm initially doing it to know that that's the transition. So I come up here and you notice how on this it's along the edge and there's a little bit. Okay, if you'll notice that on this edge it's a lot shinier than it is on this edge, and that all the way back here at the top of the bevel it's shine, because that's how I'm going to do that. Once I get this edge as sharp as that to begin with, I'm going to lay it up there, and now I'm going to lay it flat on that bevel. Whatever that bevel is from here to there, I'm going to lay it flat up there, and I'm going to just lightly go with it. I'm honing it more than I'm doing anything else. I'm going to do 10 strokes on this side, turn it over, turn the file around, and I'm going to do 10 strokes on that side. Turn it back over, turn the file back around. And this is slow. What you're doing is you're thinning that edge just a little bit and honing it. Now after about every, say, 10 rotations or 100 strokes. Take there, push away and see if you got a wire edge. If so, take care of it. Now that is very sharp, not exactly a razor, but very sharp. This is more sharp like an axe, and so from here down can take a stronger hit, so to speak. If I hit a piece of hardwood or something like that, this might break, but this part is rarely used in chopping. This part is my knife edge, and that allows me to do this stuff with it. So now let's look at these edges again. With the knife edge up here, I can take my thumb and I can use it like a knife to create fuzzy sticks or whatever I want to do. I can use it just like it's a knife and make little fuzzies, okay? Now, the back of it right here, that allows me to take and do this. And generate fine shavings for like fire building or planing or something like that. I can take a piece of wood and grab a hold and use it like a draw knife and pull to slice using that sharp edge, or up here in the robust edge if it's something kind of gnarly and I'm barking, I'm using it. This up here is where I'm going to be barking. This down here is when I'm going to be shaving wood. I can also turn it around and plane with that back edge to smooth or polish like I'm making a bow or something. Now, up under the handle on the edge side, this is the fire striker. And that is so I can now hook it and make a good shower of sparks. All of that on one machete. So, let's say I was going to build a fire with this. If I had a handy piece of log or something, I could chop this, whop into the log so it's stationary. I then put me a leaf or something on the back side, on the bottom to catch, and I take my hunk of fat lighter or wood that I'm wanting to shave down or whatever, and I go to shaving. This will allow them to fall, and I'll put a leaf on both sides, so whichever side the shaving falls on, I catch it. Then I'll lift it off and I've got my pile of shavings. Now I'm going to set it afire. I take my tinder bundle and I put those shavings in the middle of it, and I take this and harpoon it, whack at an angle like that, and I put the tinder bundle right here against it. I take my fire steel, shunk, and I ignite it. So I can use that as a fire building tool. On my sheath, I carry, as I said, a ferro rod, and I also carry the file. They ride up underneath Ranger bands, which are just hunks of inner tube, like that. Just like that, and we'll ride there nice and steady, won't go nowhere. I can take this one even and shove it up under that if I feel better about it, and that will hold it in place, and standard field work, quick and easy. As I said before, for many years I carried a machete, because down here in my semi-tropical rainforest of lower Alabama, machete is a very valuable tool. I like the kukri better, I'll be honest, but this is by no means a bad choice, and a lot of people use and enjoy the machete. But if you'll just do that with a file or a Dremel tool if you're good with it, and like I messed up, I got up there and dang, I rounded it off. What do I do? Start over. If that edge is rounded over, just start going on a flat plane like I told you until you get it back. Now you may do better with a Dremel and a sanding disc and just put it up there flat and go down the length of it and back, length of it and back, and do that a couple times. Stop. Don't get it hot. Heat is your enemy here. You just want to cut the metal down, stop, let it cool, and then feel of it. You should have a sharp kind of edge on both sides. That's that wire edge being pushed to the outside with that 90 degree, okay? With the fire striker right up underneath there, we really only need it in one direction. So if you want to file just that way and cause the burr on that way, you can do that. The handhold up here, so I can hold on to it for draw knifing and for getting up there and splitting real small, kindling with it when I don't have room to swing, okay? I can also take this and with that grubbing edge, be able to dig with it by grabbing it like this and harpooning it and dig, because that first third down there doesn't matter. Remember, it's dull. It's being used as a grubbing edge. I keep this edge as my chopping edge and this edge as my knife edge, all on one machete. I hope this clears up any questions you had, guys, and makes more sense than the last video I did on it. Carrying a ferro rod on it, carrying a file. I always carry a file. And I have taken stones, and I have taken sandpaper before, like 600, 800, 1,000 grit sandpaper, and take paddles, the paint stir sticks, and take a little double-sided tape and stick them onto that so that the sandpaper's on the outside, and use it like a file. Now, I've used it to hone an edge on a machete before to really make that knife edge. I think it's a little overkill. This is a chopping tool. This is a working tool. It's never going to replace a true knife, but it can serve more functions in the field than just that thing you hit vines with. It can do a lot more for you. Hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Please leave any questions or comments below. Until next time, I'm Blackie, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.